Okay, what's up, guys? This is Dan with the Bullish Bears team. Going to do a quick little live stream for you guys today and give Lucian a break. Let me see if I can move this thumbnail out of the way. Nope, that's not moving. All right. Okay, so just going to jump into it, guys. Going to do the watch list for Lucian today. Just going to focus on the day trade watch list, focus on the momentum stocks of the day. You guys will see I've got BLNK pulled up. This thing did incredible during power hour. I'm going to zoom out. I've got a 1 minute chart here. You guys are going to notice that I have these custom grid lines. These are lines that I use. They're kind of a mix between, well, it is the Fibonacci retracement tool, but I adapted it to kind of fit my own needs, and I did some research on a guy called WD Gann. These are geometric grid angle lines, so I kind of followed a little bit of his lead, and it's been working awesome for day and swing trading. So this is something that I leave up. So BLNK, you guys can see right here. Earlier today, this kind of had a rising wedge. It broke out of it, consolidated again. You had, back below VWAP. These EMAs were really tight. Bounced off this grid level at 462, and then it just ran pretty much all of power hour, really right into the close. We were in the trade room. We actually got a couple scalps. I got 2 scalps on this earlier, but I actually went outside for a minute. It's so nice out here in Connecticut, and I missed this move here, this like 60-cent move. So I was pretty frustrated with that. But at any rate, BLNK I think would be a great one to leave on the watch list for tomorrow. And I have the daily chart pulled up here, and you can kind of see this aqua line right here is the 200 SMA, which it did get very well, very high above it. It actually opened above this 200 SMA here, and pretty much topped out at where I had my retracement tool set out, and closed above it. So this thing on the daily chart, BLNK at the daily chart, it's really filling this huge gap here. And I know Lucian talked about this a little bit yesterday, but the bottom of the gap on this is right around, I'm going to actually go to close price on the daily candles. So there's the bottom of the gap right at $7. So I would say this thing has room to run to 7 to close the gap, right? I think that really looks like the psychology behind it. Let's look at the 5-day, 5-minute chart. Where we would want to set an alert for this, really, let's just set it at the high of day today, which was 644. So this is definitely going to be one to watch tomorrow. High a day break. Look for room to $7 tomorrow. And oh, I see you guys can't see the right side of my screen. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. I'm not sure how to fix that. You guys couldn't see on my daily chart. That's a problem. Let me see if I can. All right, let's set this alert and move this back. You might be able to see a little bit better now. Yeah, you're still not going to be able to see it, so that's fine. I'll just do one window for now, and then I'll figure out how to make my screen bigger next time. All right, so that's it. So BLNK, I think that's a great level. 644 breaks that high a day. Room to run to 7. It might do it in the pre-market tomorrow. It might run to 7 in the pre-market and then dump. But either way, the way this stock has been moving, it's been ripping for for a couple days now. And usually third day is the charm, whether it's going to keep running or just, just hit a level and then dump. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. So you can see I've already got BLNK on the list. I've already got a couple that I'm planning on, had already kind of pre-planned to watch. And I've already done some charting on as well because I traded them earlier. AMDA was a great power hour stock. And you can see here on the 1 minute, I've got actually 2 sets of retracement geometric lines here. And I'm sure it makes it look a little bit hard to see. I use major. What I do is I use major retracement levels, and I also use minor retracement levels. So the major levels I set to pink, and you can kind of see this was the peak. This is like the 0% or the 100%. This is the 0. I got the daily chart pulled up here, and you could see this massive green candle on the daily right up to the 200 SMA. Pretty great place to stop. They pinned it right there. I had these minor retracement levels in this aqua color. I'm going to try to clear up the chart. We're going to obey, or just take a look at the just the major retracement levels and go to the 1 minute. So this one, right? Pretty big, massive ascending triangle that it broke out of, right? This is the peak. It came over to here. This was the angular support line. This was the angular momentum line up. It pivoted right off of that. That's where we started paying attention to it in the trade room, and then it crossed VWAP. VWAP on my chart is this dotted green line. So let's zoom in a little bit. This thing just kind of kept flagging, and when I took an entry in it, I missed this VWAP crossover, but after it pulled back, it fell into this triangle, and then it ran up again and hit resistance, pulled back, and then you can see I have this this angular support line pulling it all the way up, and it pretty much just rode that trend line, and it went right to the major fib level that I have here. You guys will notice I don't have the actual degrees on here. I worked really hard on this stuff, and I have. So for members only, if you guys aren't a member yet, we do have a whole section of content that kind of teaches you a little bit more in depth how we trade and some of the tools that we use. And I did a special video for you guys for our members. And if it's something that you guys want to take a look at, we're $10. You can sign up. You can get some of this, get this custom grid that I worked hard on, and use it to your advantage with trading, right? So again, this thing was pinned right at the 200 SMA, closed right at this retracement level. It's actually still moving up in the after hours, which is pretty incredible. And so 331, I have 368 for room to run tomorrow. Let's look at the 1 minute. I'm actually going to, if you guys don't know how to do this, if you click on your Thinkorswim trend lines, you can actually extend to the right. So here you go. This is like pretty much, this is the momentum line right here. I don't expect it to stay above this line, especially with, what can happen overnight and in the pre-market tomorrow. It might not get any volume, but what I would look for would be a back test of this trend line at some point. Hopefully not too close to that 368. But if it does close above that 368, I'd be looking for 406. So it's kind of hard to tell. This thing, has a little bit of price action in the after hours. But what I would do is set an alert at just pick, because of where it's at, set it at 350, and wow, it's still moving, 344. So we'll do $50 psychological resistance, room to 368. So we've got room to 368. And then we got room to 406. So got an alert at 350. You know, this one, again, it might hit 350 and then drop, fall back to this line. It could actually, what I think is really going to happen is you can see how a stock hits one of these retracement levels and then consolidates underneath it or above it or on it, and then it, you know, flags and does its next thing. So this will probably more than likely consolidate around 330 anyways, and then you know, we might end up seeing this fan out, right? And what does fan out mean? So this is kind of the point of volatility and action, and what you'll see it do by tomorrow is fan out a certain number of degrees. So like this line is a 15-degree line, you know, maybe it comes down to a 10-degree line, you know, and then catches support and then finds another pivot point, and then you've got kind of a megaphone widening channel pattern to trade. So, you know, we'll just we'll leave this one at that. We'll move on to the next one. I think this is either way, this will be a good one to trade. And then I added here because this was another awesome one to trade today. And let me actually go, let me remove these real quick so I can show you guys. Okay, so daily chart. You can see I've got some trend lines here, so it kind of makes the candles look a little bit blurry. But here's just had massive momentum, pretty much riding the 9, like I talk in about in my momentum webinar. But you're going to want to go out and find the major. Let me just clear this drawing set so it doesn't look so. There you go. It's a little cleaner now. So zoom out. I mean, even if you're just doing regular Fibonacci, this is something you would do. But what I'm going to do is go to the, is that above it? Yeah, I think that's almost 100%. I'm actually going to go to this level here. Whoops, I got the wrong tool up. All right, so you're going to go all the way down to here. Okay, so I've got here daily over here too. 1 minute. All right, so now we got our daily retracement levels. So I will tell you guys this. This yellow line is a 50% retracement level. And these are very much magnets for stocks. After they have a massive downtrend and they reverse, a lot of times they will retrace at least to the 50% level. And it's a, you know, with trading, everything's a probability. There's no guarantees. You guys all know that. But what's likely is that when this finds a bottom after a massive, massive sell-off from 1490 or so, all the way down to $1, and retrace. And so it did. So it kind of like, it couldn't quite close on this 50% level. And these might not be super accurate because I kind of changed them. Or I kind of drew it hastily and I didn't dial it in exactly to the penny. But you know, you can look at the 1 minute chart today, and you can see that this right here, this is one level of angular support. So I would be willing to bet that this line gets tested at some point tomorrow, and it trades in between this 50% retracement level and the bottom of this angular support, and it might, you know, zigzag ping pong a little bit in between these levels. Hang on one sec, oh, okay. You know, it might, you know, bounce up and down in between these levels, and then, you know, ascending triangles are usually bullish. They don't always break out and go on long runs, but you know, it's a bullish pattern, so you know our sentiment would be bullish on this one. And you know, you can kind of see that we can go from here to here. That was a pivot point, and we've almost got one of these going on too. So we've kind of got, you know, almost a symmetrical pennant triangle within a greater ascending triangle, and that's what you're going to see all the time with these patterns. We go out to the 5-day, 5-minute. This thing's just been on a tear. I also like to find the up channel. A lot of times stocks like these will have a widening channel like that, so that's kind of your overhead resistance now, along with these retracement levels. And this thing's had quite the widening pattern, right? I mean, it's really opened up. So where would we set an alert for this? Well, it popped briefly above this 826, call it 825 level, got to 843, tested it, went back below, couldn't do it again. I would say a second test of this, of that 825, would be bullish, and there's a lot of room to run to 992. So I'm going to set an alert, and again, alert's not an alert to buy, it's an alert to watch. Do you like the pattern? Where's the momentum? What's the setup? What's the level 2 look like? There's a lot of factors to it. So I'm going to set this at 826, and we'll call this 50% major retracement level. Room to 843, which doesn't sound like a lot, or parabolic room to, let's see, where did I have that? At next level. I'm gonna go back and edit this and see. I forget what I said. Okay, 892. So we'll just edit this this note. Oops. I want to edit the alert. 992 rather. Cool. So that's 3 right there. Let's go and look at what else was ripping today. EGY was, I mean, had movement, had earnings today. A little bit of a head and shoulders here, and you've got somewhat of one, a kind of larger setup one here. I've already got some retracements levels ran. I didn't trade this one. I looked at it, but I just didn't like the volume and the price action. There wasn't enough risk reward by the time I had been looking at this. There were better movers today, in my opinion, in the market. I mean, these gave you, you know, 10, 15 cents, and it was more or less boring to trade. No offense if you traded it, but you know, and some people like these slower movers, you know. When it broke this retracement level, that 50% retracement level at 150, you know, it really went off, and you know, you could have made 15 cents. So I'm not too crazy about this one. Just the risk reward isn't really that great. The room to run, things like that. I don't know. Let me go look at the hourly and see. End of day candle was very bullish, closing at highs of the day. This thing would probably be a good dip buy tomorrow. If it you know, if it pulls back and trades in maybe this kind of a ascending triangle pattern and gets volume somewhere here and then pops up, who knows, but I'm just gonna leave it off for now. All right, so I pass. All right, this is kind of a earnings reversal, sell off at the end of the day. That's not too appealing. It did close the day on the 50, which is nice, but you can see what this thing has done on a daily level. Every time it's closed on the 50 SMA, which is this pink line, it's failed it. It's failed it, and it's it's fallen back down. So that is not something that looks great to me. I mean, here's your, this is kind of like your angular resistance. It kind of like just got above it. We could draw our retracement and go to a measly 25 cents and kind of get another picture of it here. I should probably go back and be more diligent about drawing these from the highs. This is a pretty big gap to fill. But again, this is a 38-cent stock. Really not some, we don't typically trade stocks under a buck. So we're going to leave this one off. I just wanted to show you guys really, really quickly what's the setup like. This is just kind of like a pop and drop kind of stock. And I don't think the risk reward's really that great. There might be 15 cents, the 200 SMA sweeping down. We'll leave it alone. OGEN. This one popped on Trade Ideas today, but it was not that exciting. Looks like I've charted this a long time ago because I don't use blue trend lines anymore. I'm going to clear the drawing set. And, whoops, get rid of the Fibonacci tool. Right, so you kind of have a little bit of a falling wedge on the daily. And, the potential for these, look at these wicks. This wick right here is from about 260 to 416 in a day. And it had it had a couple of good days where it closed on the 9 and the 20. And then you had these pop-off days, So this might be one to kind of watch. It looks like it's got earnings on 5/14, maybe an earnings run up. Didn't quite close close to the 50. So let's look at the story here. So this was kind of the trend line up. I draw that? That's not letting me click. Sorry guys, my mouse is like lagging right now. And this was kind of the channel. There we go. And it fell out of this channel. I tried to get back in. Not a lot of volume. These are all, I don't know, 20,000, 25,000 1 minute candles. Nothing too crazy. However, it's at the bottom of the wedge. This could really start to run. Here's the hourly. So if you guys don't know, we like, I'm pretty sure Lucian does, but I absolutely like looking at hourly charts for swing trading and momentum indicators. And on the hourly chart, you've got, really a perfect medley of setup where the 9, the 20, the 50 were all tangled up. You can't tell which one's on top of the other. And then, volume, basically volume when there was none. And you've got this run up from $1.30 to $1.70, and then this crazy doji, dragonfly doji, pretty much. And it's above the 200 SMA, which is good. It's good for momentum. You can see here on an hourly chart, OGEN has made some pretty parabolic, whoops, my screen went black, pretty parabolic spikes. Every time it closed above this 200 SMA, it shot up to really the top of this wedge, which it's, it's descending, it's getting lower. So the further as time you go on, it's going to get lower and tighter. And then hopefully, this stock will break out and be on the gap scan one day and we can really trade it. So let's look at what's possible. Really what's possible is any price action above 150, 156, 155. So let's go to the 1 minute and look. Where do we close at? 159. 170 was the high of day. So you know, this would keep it simple. I think this was the up channel. It's probably going to consolidate, do its thing in the pre-market. Let's see if it goes and makes another attempt at the high of day from today. Let's create an alert, because like I just said, this high of day break, or I should say previous day break, going to run on hourly chart and furious to $2. I'm gonna change this because I don't know if that's going to be, yeah, actually that's much higher. So you could almost say 280, even 280. Although this was that candle right there around $2. I think what I'm gonna do is go to this candle right here. Not even gonna count that one. I'm gonna go to the top of this candle here. See if we can get some fib lines on it to help us a little bit. I'll go down to there. All right, so now we got a little bit of a grid. All right, so let's change that up. So room to 179 and then 213. That would be the 50% level. And we'll kind of have to see if that holds true. This thing's kind of a little bit of a highly volatile pump and dump. So we're going to have to be really careful with that. Maybe stick with the even $2. We'll say 179. 179 and $2. Beyond that, this thing could go, it could really just go nuts all day. It's almost a $3. So we'll have to see. I definitely think it's one worth watching. All right, eyes. This is a former runner. This thing had a really good day today. 150. This is a good day for eyes, considering what its days are normally like. And you can kind of see right here, 200 SMA has picked it up. And you've got a lot of volume right off of that, this kind of spinning top candle here, and then boom, big green candle, dumped the next day. Now we're closing on the 50. We closed above it. That's really bullish. We have earnings. Is that tomorrow? Earnings are tomorrow. So this was an earnings run up. Who knows? Maybe a rumor that they're going to beat. Let's look at the hourly real quick. And you have it trading above the 50 on the hourly. I'm actually going to draw some overhead resistance like that. It's kind of been in a descending triangle. Actually, this line is not very... This line is not very clean. There you go. So, a little bit of a descending triangle there, and possibly a momentum breakout above the descending triangle. And we'll have to see what happens with earnings, but these closes above this triangle is pretty nice. These wicks are kind of showing that this is a very, very strong bear area at 184, 185. I'm actually going to set my alert right there at 185. Resistance zone, earnings play. I like to add where I have room to run, but I haven't really figured that out yet because I haven't done this. And let's go to 258 to 139. Bam. Look at that. I mean, look, it closed above that level at 178. So, room to $2. There you go, 50%. 50%. And let's draw a... So this was the momentum line that broke, but it got bought again. And then it broke again. So this is another one that's just going to keep kind of splaying and fanning out probably. and it might keep splaying and fanning out in this 185 level because it just, it might never clear it. It might only hit it and then drop right back down to 178, and this thing could just keep going and going and going, and then finally it creates what? Something like an ascending triangle like that, and then you might not be watching it, but volume comes in and it blasts off, and within 5 1-minute candles it hits $2 and it dumps. So if your alert goes off, and something like this, if this alert goes off tomorrow at 185, look for a retest of an angular support. Look for it to be kind of a fake out. Maybe not. Maybe there's enough of a tight ascending triangle. Maybe it's here and it's got no room to run, and the nine kind of pushes it up and squeezes it and sends it. But again, earnings are tomorrow, so that's kind of another factor. So eyes is a pretty good one. This one is had a lot of really 20-30 cent days, where you can make a couple bucks on it. I mean, they're all over the place. These 20-30 cent days, when they happen, they're great, and it's very common for this stock, and it moves kind of slow. So it might be a good one if you're a newer trader trying to challenge yourself, but you don't like trading 1-minute candles that you have 15 to 30 seconds, 45 seconds if you're lucky to make profit. So let me see if I can move this. How do I get rid of that? All right, so scratch that. Let's go over to the next one. This is DF. I saw this on Trade Ideas as well, and it looks like that happens. This was kind of a falling wedge a little bit, even somewhat of a falling wedge, somewhat of a descending triangle. Blasted out on earnings, and let's look at the daily. Wow. Okay, so really this might be making a play for the 200 SMA on the daily. Let's see, I'm just reading a couple comments from you guys. Mike Wilson, open range breakout trading is it's a good strategy if you're very fast and you're comfortable with your hotkeys and you are comfortable with holding for anywhere from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. I mean, there's a lot of times where it goes further than that, but you have to be prepared to take profit that fast. And if you're a newer trader and you're doing it with real money, to control your emotions and to get used to looking at level 2, the candlestick, the charts, kind of like everything at once, you're going to take, you're probably going to have, your pulse is going to be quickened. You're going to be sweating bullets. And if you got a lot of money in the trade, it's going to be volatile. You could be up a couple $100 and down seconds later. So, opening range trading is the toughest. And I have never tried to set up hotkeys with Thinkorswim. I know people use the big buttons. I don't do much. I don't do any day trading on Thinkorswim. It's really just for options and swing trading for me. I prefer the DOS Trader platform and your broker of choice for day trading, just because of the hotkeys. So practice with the big buttons, but be ready to sell, within a few seconds. So okay, so this might be coming up to test the 200. It might not. Let's see what's going on. You got kind of like the 9 crossed the 20 today, which is beautiful. It looks like it's about to cross the 50. this could be a big time reversal in play. So swing traders, pay attention, because you might be able to get a great entry on a stock like this. And I'm not really sure. No problem, Mike. I'm not really sure where this is. I think this is about 821. I have it at 818. So I guess let's adjust it. 818, 821. Yeah, we'll leave that. We'll leave that there. So let's see. So this might be coming up to test this 993 level. Again, the 200 SMA. I would actually look for day trading. How far away is that? 1052. So I'm actually going to set, this will come down a little bit tomorrow, but I'm going to set this right here, and I'm going to write 200 SMA area. Okay. So I would say a close above, I would wait for 10. I would just wait for that whole dollar amount. Set the alert there. You got room to 1050. 50 cents a nice trade. Let's do that there. 10. Let's do a retracement. Level break. Major reversal on daily in play. Room to 200 SMA on daily. Around 1050. All right. Cool. So let's add that. Again, this could be a really good, depending on if some of you guys like to swing trade this, and we tell you guys this, some of these stocks are swing tradable. You know, maybe this really holds this momentum line. You know, maybe it fans out and picks it up here, but you know, its potential. Let's look at this. Even the weekly chart is really big green engulfing weekly candle. You know, it could potentially trade up to the 50 SMA on the weekly if it's having a really good week, which is around 1150, and right around that, this next fib line at 1167. So that is one to watch. SEII. This one was pretty parabolic this morning. I did not trade this one. Really low volume, but kind of okay price action. Double top. Fell back below VWAP. Yeah, you can day trade any type of option you want. So, you know, a lot of the stocks that we're showing you, probably less than half of them are optionable. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just guessing. And you know, if you want to trade, you know, vertical spreads for day trading, or any type of spread or any type of option for that matter, you know, take a look at you know, a stock like Apple that's been running pretty wild, and you can kind of see that this gave you lots of opportunities to trade spreads. There you go. So, you know, I wouldn't do it with the penny stock stuff that we're looking at, you know, because the bid asks are going to be terrible on these anyways. They're such cheap companies. Even if they do have options, you know, it's probably not going to work in your favor, you know, for stocks under $20. So SEII, here's the hourly chart. It's above the 9. This is kind of I don't know. The volume's actually so low on this one. You don't want to get stuck. Look at there's candles where there's no volume at all. So we'll just skip over that one. And this one's got some. Oh yeah, I charted this one today. Yep. So this had kind of a great day. The moving averages were all nice and tight. You got your first buy me candle. This is or watch me candle or enter. This would be the enter candle. And then, sell close to the 9 to start to take your profit. I mean, if you're quick, you could have took your profit here. There was this retracement level to watch out for, and it kind of sold off, and it almost looks a little bit, at an end of day spike. So didn't close near the highs of the day. I just don't like the pattern on this one. I don't know. Let's look at the daily and see. So far, I'm not too keen on it. Look at this long wick. Earnings, long wick. And there's not a lot of attractive with this one. The 200 SMA is pretty far away. The 920 and 50 are all close, but it's not looking like one that I would want to buy. If I was going to put this one on my personal watch list, what I would want to do is I would want to set an alert with a drawing. So I would find kind of the angular support, which is right about here, and I would right click and I would create alert with drawing, to tell me that, hey, it's pulled back to support, possible buy area. But I'm not going to do that. For one, we don't do that on our watch list, and two, I just don't like this one. So this one looks pretty nice after earnings. Let's clear the drawing set. Let's look at the daily. All right, so let's look at. So this is going to go from. Let's go from here. Let's see. I'm going to go from here, which is pretty close to where this went off on its massive run. And I'm going to go to about the high of it. All right. And so that's given us pretty good information. You can kind of see the way prices behaved near this line. So on a 1 minute time frame, what does that mean? Look at that. 815 was pretty major resistance for this. This was a nice consolidation, closed at near high a day. This would be one that, again, I'm going to put on for a previous high a day break. High a day break has room to 896. Doesn't mean it'll get there, but it's got room to get there, at least on a retracement level. Let's look at the hourly chart, and maybe we can see. This has kind of got like a nice, the gap up. Hang on, I check the daily. Yeah, it's got a nice gap on the daily, but if you look at the hourly, this is like a nice U-shape, U-bottom, and a lot of times these will continue. These types of patterns will continue, but we need to watch out for. So here's something else that I just noticed is around 835. So I'm actually going to mark this on my chart now. And I've got a little bit of a warning at 835. So I'm going to edit this. So now we know to watch out for 835. Yeah, it breaks the previous high a day, which is great, but it might get smacked down at 835. It might just consolidate there. It could, turn into some type of channel or ascending triangle, some type of a bullish pattern. Make sure those things are accompanying the trades that you guys make on these types of setups. So Super Sano, I'm not really sure about. I haven't heard good things about Ali for. Oh, that's an online savings account. That's a good financial advisor question. It's always good to have money in a savings account, and rainy day funds. I mean, if you got 10,000 to invest, if you're actually talking about investing it, just rereading your question, I would I consider all your options. If you're really going to look at a broker, among the best or interactive brokers, you could actually open up an interactive brokers account with 10,000, which we recommend. That's who we use, and we use DOS over the top of that. But again, go to our website, go to bullishbears.com, guys, and take a look at go to our website and check out our courses. And we've got our candlestick course, we have our advanced candlestick course. Make sure that you guys are taking these free courses first and paper trading before you start investing with real money. So when I see a question, I'm not calling you out at all or anything, but when I see I have 10,000 to invest, what should I do? The first thing you should do is paper trade and take the next however long it takes, 6 months, a year, until you're profitable and comfortable, and then invest with real money. You're building a lifelong skill in education it's gonna be lifelong. So you've got time, and you work hard. Everybody works hard for their money. So look at a good broker with a good paper trading account. Stick that money somewhere safely until you're ready to trade with it. All right, so let's look at this. All right, guys, I'm probably going to stop it here. I think this is a pretty good day trade watch list for tomorrow. There's one, DF is easy to borrow, so this is something that you might be able to short. On Thinkorswim, a lot of these say hard to borrow or none to borrow, but on another broker you might be able to short these. And something like AMDA, almost a 200% run up, you might be able to short this tomorrow, and make 30 cents, 40 cents or more, depending on what happens. So I'm definitely going to stop this here. I appreciate you guys coming to watch us on our channel, and I'll be doing more of these watch list videos for you guys in the future. Hopefully I'll if I can wake up enough in the morning, I'll start doing some pre-market as well for you guys, and some live trading. Lucian's been doing that, but we'd like to tag team that for you guys. And happy trading, and we will see you soon.